All right, so now we're finally going to be talking about movies here. In this case, we only have two. So we're going to talk about Willy's Wonderland and Nomadland. So yeah, two lands, right? Haha, just figure that out. So Willy's Wonderland. Saw the trailer for this early this year. This was from well, okay. So the director is Kevin Lewis. I think it's from some um, I think it's from short film, right? That short film that he made back in 2016, right? And the story is that he was planning to make the project right off of the short film, and a certain someone saw this and I was like, this sounds real good, Dread. So I mean, I would love to act in this, but I also want to produce this as well.
Okay, wow.
That would be my boy, Nicolas Cage.
Oh boy. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted to act and produce this.
Right.
Like, all right, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I saw the trailer for this. We get to what the premise is about a little bit, right? And I was like, all right, this is like sort of like an Evil Dead kind of thing, but in this
Right.
case, instead of demons from some otherworldly dimension, we have animatronic characters from some
Yeah, it's
well,
supposed to
not
be,
fun house, but more
because
of a family entertainment center, basically.
yeah, it's because Five Nights at Freddy's kind of thing, if you know what that game is.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. And a lot of people keep making the reference to that video game series actually. And when you really look at it, it's like, yeah, this like legit like Five Nights at Freddy's, though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw the trailer of it, and it was like, well, okay, it's Nicolas Cage doing what Nicolas Cage does, right? So he's doing the weird, oh, this could be a cult film kind of movie, kind of vibe, right?
Which I hate people to do, like they try to do it ahead of time. Because when I see this advertised, I was thinking Snakes on a Plane all over again. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, yeah. Right,
it,
right.
it's,
Where it's designed to, it's so
yeah,
over
the
top.
whole
It's
the whole
designed to be
form,
a
right?
cult, a future
Yeah,
cult film.
the whole force meme, contrivance thing. Like that is every time I see that, I immediately get turned off from our project. There's Nicolas Cage and he playing Five Nights at Freddy's, kind of. I hate that shit.
Yeah, I do believe in it. And the funny thing is, right, we'll get to the premise in a bit, right? Um, about Nicolas Cage, right? So yes, we know that he picks these, like he would just pick a project from a hat, right? He'll pick these very bargain basement films, like we talk about Jiu-Jitsu last year.
Right, yeah,
And
that was
yeah,
real
yeah,
shit.
I talked about how much I despise it and how it just brought the bar of the martial genre to an all new low. You know what I mean? And it just felt like they just had his name there just for people to be like, oh, now I want to see this movie because he's in it, and he always stars in these bad movies. So I just want to watch this and laugh and get high into it.
It's that bullshit, yeah.
Yeah, and it was sad, right? But before that, like a few years before that, he started a movie called Mandy, right? Which
Right,
I would
right,
admit, first time I was like, it's kind of weird for the sticker being weird,
right.
But the second, third time I watched, I was like, okay, I generally dig this thread.
Yeah,
But to
I
me,
I thought Mandy was hot. I love
yeah,
Mandy.
but to me, what made that show work for me personally, and this is coming from a fan of cult films, right? Because I always seek out cult films. The weirder, the better. Just as long as you have a story that I could vibe with, that I could get along with. Is that the director himself? The name escapes me right now. You could feel like he was literally making a cult film right in front of us. It was weird, it was artsy, but it was all intentional. Like he was trying to do like what David Lynch did with Eraserhead. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
but he was creating right in front of us now. So it's like, oh, he just made the film, and 10 years from now, it's considered to be a cult classic. Is No, he was making it right in front of us. That I think that's like probably the only time to this day, Dread, where somebody actually pulled it off and it worked. I haven't seen that happen again, Dread. And sorry, I had to see the same thing here with this movie, Dread. Like, this is clearly them trying to be some sort of midnight movie, Dread, but it just doesn't work. And I'll tell you why in a bit, right? So, not even gonna stay long on premise, Dread, because there really isn't
Nothing there. Yeah.
right. So, Nicolas Cage is a drifter, right? But they call him the janitor, right? He has no name, but he's the janitor because his the car that he's in, the flat tire, right? And the sheriff of the town, you know, tells him, well, here's what, right? Well, here's what we could do, right? Like we could fix your car, but here's what, there's this little entertainment place, right? That we trying to reopen, but we need somebody to stick around for the night and just clean up the place and all that kind of stuff, right? And this is where the Willy's Wonderland is. That's where it is, right? So he's like, well, I'll get to what he says or doesn't see in a bit, right? But yeah, he just decides he will do it, right? So he is there for the night. He's doing it there. You have these group of kids, really one-dimensional characters. I'll get to that too.
Yeah, so,
And they were like, oh no, they hired somebody else. People who work there die. What I mean, when they stay there for the night. So we have to go in and save him. We have to break in if need be to save him and all that kind of stuff, right? And while he is there, he would like he sees the characters themselves, right? He sees the animatronic characters, they're just like lifeless, right? But ever so often they will activate and they will sing a song and then they'll just power out, right? But then one of them will kind of activate and just act all psychotic and try to kill him, and then he will just dispose of them.
right.
And then afterwards they set up this weird like OCD thing about him, because he has this thing about drinking a particular, I think it's a soft drink or a beer or something like that. He'll
Right.
drink two cans of it, and then there's like a pinball machine, so you go and play pinball, and afterwards another character will show up and you will kill it, and then he will do the same thing again, and you're there like wondering, okay, well, they're gonna establish why he doing all this stuff. Is this
Yeah, never.
OCD? Is it something? Nope, nothing. And I'm gonna like jump into the review here one time, right? So first flaw with this movie, right? This is not even the biggest flaw, but for some people it probably is, right? So I get the joke. It's Nicolas Cage fighting off a bunch of animatronic, characters, right? And then they also reveal, I'll get a little spoilery here, that they actually demon possessed. So it's not like, oh, they're just machines just acting against what they're supposed to be doing. No, it was a bunch of serial killers who do a kind of a child's play shit and do this spell that the souls go into this thing, and for
they're
no
doing this. Okay.
yeah, that's where they go. They pull it from child's play, though. They
Right,
pull
right,
it from child's play, right?
okay.
Okay,
That not
okay. Oh,
well,
but if that's the case, then why are they in this one spot then? What's the point?
well,
What they try to say is, it's something about sacrifice. So people come in, they kill as to be sacrificed to something, some being. I don't know. They kind of leave that open. You're not really sure, but whatever, right? But yeah, you could poke holes in this movie for these, right? But yeah, so Nicolas Cage, right? So I get the point. It's crazy Nicolas Cage. You know what I mean? And that's the joke, right? But when you see this joke played out 4, 5, 6 times in a row, Dread, it's just not funny. It wasn't even funny for the first time you see it. And it sure as hell wasn't funny to the eight or right. I can't think it's like eight.
Run
Yeah,
that shit to the ground.
it's eight characters. Yeah. So for the first and last, nothing about this is funny, right? And you're thinking, oh well, okay, he can bring out some kind of gun and this kind of blah, bust shots and all that kind of stuff. No, I mean he will either use his fists or he will, like in this case, he took a plunger to kill this gorilla character, and it's like, all right, well, I guess that's a joke, and it usually ends with well, it's not blood, but it's like oil, right? And the way how, goddamn, the way how they film it now is the shaky cam, but it's just a blatantly cheap looking shaky cam, like you're trying to be all edgy, you know what I mean? With we're gonna be all up in your face, man, and all that kind of stuff, and let's just see this black slime go up on Nick's face. Ooh, that's gonna be effective. It's like after the first time, I was like, okay, you're clearly just didn't have a budget, so yeah, just rinse repeat, and that's the problem. Rinse repeat over and over and over, and you cannot buy into the fact that literally it's just 30 seconds to a minute of Nick just beating up these characters until they're dead.
Right.
None of them put up a fight. None of them do. It's just punch, 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 punch until, oil spills out, and that's it. The end. Move on. And then he'll go in the fridge, take out the cans, and then he'll play the pinball game, right? But here's the biggest crime in this movie, right? And I understand, like, okay, well, all right, well, this is not your ordinary Nicolas Cage role, right? So let me just have a little something here to make it really, really different here. But this to me is what really brought down the film, man. Wait for it. The guy who Nick Cage plays does not say anything in the movie. And
Oh,
they at first
they're
like
doing that.
yeah, and
That
they
I
at
mean,
first
that kind of
one
cool.
one sec. And they
Yeah,
at
okay.
first like, all right, he will talk when he has to. Maybe when he runs into the teens, he will probably see a line, or he'll just kind of keep to himself because they really establish the fact that he's a loner. He just all to himself and all that kind of stuff. But dog, this is not even a spoiler thread. He says nothing in the movie.
No,
He
no,
does that
it's bullshit.
grunt. He does that yell. He does that. He doesn't do
That not cute.
anything
That not cute.
verbally.
Sorry,
Yeah,
that is not cute. Sorry.
yeah. But what were you saying, sir?
No, I said it's something that I was thinking, oh, that could be a kind of interesting idea. But when you think about it, the way how you describe it now, it's like, yeah, that's not cute at all. That's just like a dumb gimmick.
It is because I understand. Like to see some crazy lines, I get, not the bees.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So once again, we want to play out of character, kind of. All right, but give the man at least a line or something, because it just gives me and I imagine anybody else watching this film the impression that he just sleepwalking through all this.
Yeah.
He has little to no emotion. He just kind of walks around. He just does the same movements over and over and over. When he's getting, dirty and grimy and violent. There's no ounce of emotion to it. It's just like punching at a pillow, basically. That's what you're seeing here. And that is what we get throughout this movie, Dread. An idea like, okay, they're gonna explain why he's so quiet. They're gonna explain the OCD. They don't. They don't explain anything. Now here's where the idiots. Well, before we get to what the idiots will say, right? And the supporting cast don't even do any favors neither. Like the kids who come through, like there's this one Latina chick who, I mean, she was attractive. I mean, that's it. But other than that, I mean, she could have been some better in my opinion. But
Right.
like she like far outshine her friends in this film, because yeah, like
Wow.
they can't act for shit, they can't do for shit.
Yeah.
They are victims in the film, and like literally it ends with her. I didn't even care less about the others in this film, Jed. They
Right.
just kind of came and went for me. Just poorly written, one dimensional. They just there to be literally the Scooby Gang and run and hide when these
Right.
creatures come
Yeah.
come alive and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
But there was like little to no tension to this. The characters would come and do some kind of zany, you know what time it is, and all that kind of stuff. And like, all
That
right, I
bullshit.
get,
No,
but
no.
still, why are they in this place? Why they don't just go outside and run amok and attack people in the town and all that kind of stuff? Why the police acted as if, oh well, oh it's another guy again. We're not gonna get involved because reasons. And it's just if there's just a story that's all up in the air. And the only thing literally that you're supposed to hold on to and supposed to make you watch this film for 88 minutes is Nicolas Cage beating up 8 animatronic characters. That is such a flimsy,
Yeah.
high concept right there, Trent. And yet the show hammers you over the head with it over and over and over again. Isn't this funny? Look at this. Ha 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 ha. Is this funny? No, it's the same shit over and over and over, Trent. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. So here's where the idiots will come in now and say, well, that's the point. It's a stupid. Oh shit. Okay, so I shouldn't say idiots, right? But the ones who honestly will go in with the expectations really really low. It's supposed to be dumb. It's supposed to be stupid.
Yeah, it's
That's the
that.
point. We're winking at the camera. Get it? This is dumb. This is why Nick Cage doing this because it's
No,
dumb. Ha ha ha! Isn't that
but I see
funny?
the force meme
Come on.
aspect that we just talked about now. Yeah, they're still doing that. Like they still think that cute now. Like, dude, enough. We know
Yeah,
that you can do this, you can do better. You don't need to cater to that nonsense.
yeah. And here's last thing I'll say before I get to it, right? Like I understand the premise is flimsy, right? Yeah. But there was so much ways they could have just worked in a little character development, a little story development, just a reason for us to care about what is going on, Jed. And it's just so simple because the show itself is not taking itself seriously intentionally. They still kind of find little ways to just develop the story a little bit more. It just feels so lazy, Dre. Like, okay, this is the joke, and we're just gonna tell this joke 8 times throughout the movie, and that's your movie. It's like, no, man. I mean, and they, oh, okay. So to the movie's credit, they do have this backstory where they talk about why the killers did what they did, and why they transfer their souls into that. But still, it still don't make no sense, John, when you really
Yeah.
think about it. It's just an excuse to just have Nick do his thing. And like I said before, they couldn't even tell me why what was the cause or the point to Nick's OCD, or why he's so quiet throughout the movie. You know what I mean? And like I said before as well, not having him say any lines. Sure, like I understand you going against his character, right? But still, it's like, dog, like you're giving no emotion to the performance already. You don't give him any lines, right? So why should I care? And I think I mentioned this before, but I think I'll bring it up again. But yeah, or probably I did. Yeah, like these creatures, right? They're supposed to be menacing and scary, right? They're not actually, right? This is once again because of how you know how little the budget is, right? Like like when you see them, they lit in such a way like, oh, they look scary, but actually not really. They just look a little demented, but that's it, right? But still, they prove no threat to this guy, right? He just comes in, punches one, and then in about 30 seconds or a minute, you play some metal music, and it's done, and that's it. Next
They
scene.
didn't do nothing. They didn't do nothing with it.
Nothing in this thread.
Shameful.
So this was a huge disappointment for me, but I still know that you'll have people that will defend it and say, well, this could potentially be a cult classic. Like I was telling myself while I was watching this, because I was so bored. I was like, the best home video provider, sorry, distributor for a film like this will be Arrow Films, right? I mentioned them before with Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway. They
Yeah,
actually put that out. Yeah. But I mean that had substance to it. I mean
yeah.
it
That,
had
that
it
had
had
that.
it had
There's a thing
uniqueness
there.
to it.
There was
Yeah.
a day there.
Yeah, there was stuff in it. This is just a joke being told over and over and over. Strung out by just no plot, right? But yeah, I could imagine, well, maybe not this year, but probably like 5, 10 years from now or something, Arrow Films will actually release this, and they probably might put out a director's cut and a bunch of features and all kind of stuff. Like they'll pretty it up and make it look like, oh, this is like, this underrated gem from the 2020s, and you'll appreciate it more when you see it today. I don't see myself appreciating this at all if I watch this again. Matter of fact, I do see myself watching this again. Hell to the know whether I'm gonna buy this on Blu-ray or anything else. This was a huge letdown for me, Trent. But rating wise, it's gonna be pretty interesting. So for me, I'm going to give this a strong 2 out of 5. I want my money back. But I will still give this a light 2.5 out of 5 because I have a feeling that it will have people that will still kind of look at it and appreciate it for how dumb it is, and if they looking for some weird cult film or midnight movie to watch, and they have bears and they have friends about, they could probably enjoy it and laugh at it, right? But for me, I found no laughs in this. This was unfunny. This was painful to sit through because of just how dull and boring it was. And yeah, a huge step down as far as like Nicolas Cage. Like, this is where you at, bro. Like, you just come in and just sleepwalk through a film and not see a word, and you expect me to buy into this gimmick of yours in this film? Nah. So overall, if you want to see it, Dread, but I highly recommend that you don't. But like I
Yeah,
say, you'll have people that will defend it and put it in the whole cult film, and oh, this could be a cult classic one day. Perhaps it will be, but that just because it's a cult classic doesn't mean that it's a great film. Huh? Like, we've seen that decades, right? Just because it's called a cult film or a cult classic doesn't mean it's a great film, and this certainly is not a great film. But for me, yeah, skip this shit, right? All right. Last but not least, let's finally talk about Nomadland.
yeah.
Um, this was a movie that was getting a lot of buzz late 2020. Many people call this one of, if not the best movie of
Yeah,
2020.
yeah,
But we were just kind of patiently waiting, not for it to come out on theaters, but to come out on Hulu. So it
right.
did. We checked it out, and well, last thing I just want to say, because Ricardo, I want you to do the synopsis for it, right?
Sure.
Synopsis for this. Sorry. This is the follow-up film from director Chloé Zhao, who will be
Right.
working on the Marvel's The Turtles. This is a
Which
follow-up to.
it's something I'm thinking about. I kind of
I know, right?
I slightly worried.
Especially after seeing her style now, which I'll get
Right.
into. Like, will her style match with the Turtles?
Well, I
No.
think right. I'm slightly worried about that simply because I worry we might end up getting a Ang Lee Hulk type scenario now.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Because
Right.
I understand it's a studio film, you had to make it the way that they do, but the beauty of with superhero films, and when you tack on people like, say, Taika Waititi and James Gunn and folks like that, though, is that they could always bring their own little style, their own little flair to the movie. So it doesn't
Right.
necessarily have to be like what they did in the past, but it could look at a little piece of it and be like, oh yeah, this is kind of like his style, like part of their over, all that kind of stuff there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned about what we're gonna get with the Turtles, especially the style that Chloe is sticking to. Seeing with what she gives us here and with the movie that she put on before, The Rider. This was my introduction to Chloe's work.
Yes.
I thoroughly love this movie. I
Very,
put you
very.
on it. Yeah, one of the
Yeah. Yeah.
best movies of that year. Um, and yeah, I mean, this one has a similar style, but it's how it's gonna translate to Turtles. But forget Turtles for now. When it comes out, it comes out. But yeah, Ricardo, take it away. What was Nomadland about?
Right. So sometime in the early 2010s, this I think 2011 or something like that.
Yeah. I think it's 2011.
Yeah, Fem was the name character. This is Francis McDonald's character, played by Fem is the character's name, I think. It's slipping my mind
No, no,
what her
Fern,
name.
Fern, Fern.
Fern.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so she basically just life give her multiple raw deals, right? The town that she was in, um, I think the factory breakdown, they lay off the husband, and the husband died. So she kind of was on her own, and then this whole town eventually, effectively melt down. Like this, you see that a lot, in America, right? A lot of these factory towns just kind of go through, and they never really get a break um, going forward. That's it. Pretty much that's the whole situation. She does have to, well, she effectively homeless. She don't really have a career or life or anything like that. She never do nothing. She was a housewife. I think she was a teacher, a substitute teacher or something like that. So it was like
Yeah.
nothing she was
She
doing.
was.
Yeah, she ain't doing nothing, and life not going right for her. So basically, you have the whole culture of the nomads. This undercurrent of American people who just never really get their life together because they just never think that the world would have melted down the way it did, and especially in after the 2000. I think she had it's the subprime mortgage she had to worry about. It was effectively that, and that's it. Um, you know, life sucks, and now she have to effectively be a hobo. She living in she van, and all the little small things about life, and this remind me a little bit of the documentary the Obamas did now that we review. What do they call
Oh,
it?
what's this way?
American Factory.
American
Yeah,
Factory. Yeah.
yeah, American Factory. It's that. It's hey, let's look at America from a documentary standpoint, kind of thing. They're not we're not treating it as we call it as nice. Just seeing it as raw as possible. And yeah, the Chloe Zhao is pretty good at that. Nice it. She life sucks. I think my boy from The Expanse, David Stratham, I think, the actor. He
Oh,
was in this.
he's in the Expanse too. I didn't
Yeah,
know
but
that. That's
he died. He died in The Expanse. He got killed. He
right.
died.
And his
That one.
character's name is David, right? Which is yeah. But yeah, good.
They do right. So what I appreciated about it is that they play on real what do you call it? Real people. I think they had real
Yes.
people in it. It was a kind of almost semi documentary kind of thing. Now. That
Yeah.
way
Similar to the writer, which
similar to
I'll
the
never
writer, right?
forget. The first time I saw that, watch the main character, and there's this moment where
So I do.
he's basically trying to break in this horse there, and I'm watching this
Yeah.
scene. I'm like, This
Yeah,
man is like he really doing this. And it's only
yeah,
afterwards like, oh no, he's not a trained actor actually. So yeah, in
right.
this film they actually I think they only have like a couple or a few like real actors, but everybody
Well,
else
they have somebody
you know.
I kind of familiar with from on YouTube, right? He was in
Oh,
this.
that's the Bob Wells character, right? Sorry,
Yes.
Bob
And I was like,
Wells.
holy
Bob
shit,
Wells.
Bob Dwell's in this, right? What he asked, right? I was like, there's a documentary going on here, though. Like, my brain wasn't really matching what happened exactly now. And I realized, oh, okay, what going on is that
Hmm.
it's this kind of half style. It's like, oh, yeah, it's Zoe, yeah. I'm sorry, Chloe Zhao, just doing the style, which is shocking how she getting away with this, though. In,
I know, right?
in modern, like, filmmaking, like, how is this happening? This is kind of weird, right? Like that,
Yeah.
how can it
And
did not
even
really
weirder too, right? Even weirder too is that it's based off of a novel. Right now they real push that
right.
novel on Amazon.
Yeah.
But like you will watch this and like even at the very end, I was like, wait, this based off a novel, so why you have real people like
I see.
real
So
people
no,
life
right. So
people?
yeah,
Yeah.
so she made a really clever choice of that approach. No, that's like, oh, that real like really clever when you think about it, though. By doing that what she did now. And it's I wouldn't say outright brilliant, but because it's Chloe Zhao and I knew kind of knew what to think about. I'm like, all right, I give it that that blind, that chance. And it works, right? It's actually really, really well done. Francis McDormand holds it. Um, and they just kind of nailed it, just the sheer listlessness and the borderline hopelessness of the whole situation.
Yeah, but yeah.
Especially the
Mhm.
United States. And the thing is, the United States is like I admitted, they just absolutely like to bullshit that whole homeless thing or outright erase is either true outright erasure or you try to nice it up. That bullshit. And we get neither. They just it's very matter of fact, again, borderline documentarian approach because that's the whole idea. And yeah, I really, really dug this for what it was. It I'll say something about it. Um, I had a small issue with it, but it's only because mostly because of the ending. But it still works.
No, I thought you was gonna tell me what the issue was though.
No, no, no. Yeah, at the end. I will at the end. But I'll say all okay. I think I can say it now. I think the end. My only issue with the end is that it kind of pulled its punches in terms of like what it could have done. It should have been straight, and they just kind of pull its punches in terms of what that could have been ultimately. So that was it.
No,
I
no,
felt
I know what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, it was nicer than it should have been, and I didn't really care for that. But whatever,
Yeah, well, I guess in that case, he was just trying to bring some bit of hope in
a
the
little
film.
bit, and
Yeah,
then it
a little bit, a
also
little bit.
yeah, and it also kind of frames Amazon as this nice company for some reason. That's kind of weird to me.
Like
Uh,
every time I saw Amazon and I just see like especially the
yeah,
interiors, I was like, okay, no, no,
yeah, we really trying to make
no.
yeah, we trying to make Amazon a thing, really? Okay, um, that's kind of weird. But yeah, other than that, I don't have any major like problems with it. It was just like, no, this work. It's very charming. It's very sad, but it works. Like it just the style, editing, cuts, and framing, and again, it's just this kind of half documentary, not fake. Like Chloe Zhao kind of inverts the mockumentary. That's what I like to call it, an inverted
Mm.
mockumentary. Yeah, it's a fictional story clearly, but it's framed in such a documentary style, and it works. There's a great verity approach. Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, well, I agree with you for the most part, though. It's not a show that I genuinely loved or enjoyed, but it's one of those shows that you just look at and be like, you just wrapped up in it, though. And I love how down to earth it all is, how it just puts you in the shoes of these, individuals now.
Yeah,
And it's the best way I can describe this is very bittersweet, right? It's
yeah,
one should it remind me of actually one of my like favorite movies ever, Into the Wild, right? This was
yeah, right.
Sean Penn's movie, right? This guy who just decides after graduation he just done with life and well, sorry, not done with life, but just done living in the
This
modern world,
was
and
yeah,
he
this was
just
Emil Hirsch was the star.
yes,
A
yeah,
famous
yeah,
book.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
famous. That's a real true story as well. Yeah,
right. But yeah,
yeah,
love that movie. But this how just him just leaving, just getting off the grid and just living life
Yeah, that was
on the
interesting.
road, that kind of thing there.
Yeah.
And it just like even in that film it kind of shows the good and bad in it, and this one kind of shows it as well, but more not so much the bad, but just the unfortunate. Like it's not like at first you might think, oh, it's just people just kind of fed up and they just don't want to do this 9 to 5 thing anymore. So
Yeah.
they just head out in the road and see where life takes us, right? And like with Foon's character, you're thinking like it's part that like that's one of the reasons, but it's not the reason. But it's just mainly because, well, yeah, you know what I mean. Just life treated her bad, you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
this is where she is right now in this van, just literally living like a nomad, which works. But I really really dug the well. One thing though is the cinematography was phenomenal in this, in my opinion. Though
Yeah.
the direction, Chloe Zhao just really really knocked it out there, and it's only like in the end I realized that she edited this film as well too, and I love just the style of editing is where she will show you a scene and it'll just cut at just the right moment. Like it
Yeah.
won't linger on for as long as it should. It just boom, 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 boom. But
Right.
it doesn't work in this erratic, oh, we don't know what we're trying to tell, we're just trying to move the story along vibe. It's just again the feel of everything in that one particular moment. The ups, downs, little things, like she will just bile something, but they will bring
Yeah.
back that character later on and you'll see
Yeah.
how the items she buys have meaning and all these little things. So it really puts you in the shoes of, well, yeah, nomads and just how they
Yeah.
live. I love
Why?
also that it doesn't like glorify it. It doesn't like, oh well, they're living off the land and you should do this one day. It's like this is their will and this is just them dealing with it the best way they can. Just take that or leave it.
Yeah. Yeah, and they do just the little small things that matter, like stuff that I would like. Take for example, something like if your car break down and blah
Yeah,
blah
yeah,
blah, and all these just losing the small things and like wow, how if you decide to make come out of civilization, making a real big call there, it have no
yeah.
fallback. Literally, there is no fallback. Healthcare stuff
Yep.
like all these little small things that like if you get your car sit down, your car settle, your car think, your car is really unfortunate. But and for her, why it works is that they get into the balance of how you does right to rationalize stuff after the fact now. So with her halfway, you're not really sure if she really like tolerating this, but like most times you can see the look on her face, like yeah, she ain't really supposed to be part of this life, right? Like at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and speaking of Foon, Frances McDormand, I thought that she was great in this. Once again, like I don't know, like the older she gets, the like she just lose herself in these roles.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I
yeah,
mean? So like she doesn't feel like how she was in this movie, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing or whatever the name of
right.
the
Yeah,
movie is. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the
Right.
Three
She don't feel
Billboards
like the
show
same
that I
person.
love, but I just can't remember the name.
I mean,
And it was yeah, and it was this close to winning Best Film, but it didn't. But whatever, moving on.
yeah,
But yeah, that's how she like loses herself in that role, though, and I think it works perfectly here too because they like at no point in time it should stop and be like, "Hey, this is not Francis McDormand from this show and from Fargo and all that kind of thing." It's like, no, it's Foon, and that's what we're seeing here. David Streatham, like the moments with him were great as well. I love that they kind of paint him as sort of like a trying to be a love interest kind of, but I
yeah,
love the fact that he had his own goals and he eventually, leaves that lifestyle to a sense. So I
right.
dug that juxtaposition there. Now. Um, what really, really caught me though was just some of the side characters. Like we had Linda Mee, we had Swanky. These are two elderly white women, right?
Yeah,
And it's only in the end you realize, wait, they're real dread. They're
yeah.
real.
Now it
And
catch me. It catch me.
yeah, and they brought so much heart and emotion to the scenes at the end. Like they're not in
Yeah,
the movie throughout, right? But especially Swanky, but I'm like, wow, especially
yeah,
what they do with her character, though, just it hit me, boy.
yeah.
But yeah, I know for some people they might be turned off by the style of it. They might find it too slow or nothing much going on. But
No, yeah. It's
that's the vibe of it. It's just it's
no.
it's it's,
I
it's a road movie in a sense, but
yeah.
also this is
I
just
don't know.
the deep idea of how they live, and I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that because it's like, yeah, I know what I was getting with Chloe Zhao. So it's like, yeah, I saw the rider. The rider had a similar piece, and I won't say
Hmm.
an issue, just a piece and approach. Um, and
Yeah,
it works in that sense. Yeah,
yeah, and just like the writer, it's not so much about a narrative; it's more about characters, like character study, like this is a side of America that you probably heard about, but no way we go in really in deep so you understand why these characters are who they are, Dread. And this is what the show here does well. You know what I mean? It really does show just how hard, the working class have it. You know what I mean? Even in in America, Dread, but yeah, I really, really, really dug this. It's not a show that I see that I love, 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 but it's one that I watch. I was like, yeah, this is the one that people could be talking about when you see the name Chloé Zhao, Dread. As far as the Academy Awards or the Golden Globes, which coming up this Sunday at times recording here,
Yeah.
maybe might win something. Maybe Frances might win, but it's one
We
of those
don't.
wins that
You can't
well,
tell.
it's because it's Frances McDormand and she already have a big name already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She may win something, but I think one of the big strengths of the movie here is that even if you took her out, I still think
Yeah.
the movie would have worked very, very well.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that myself. Like, if she's not in this, what will how we'll approach this kind of thing. And I was like, no, it could still work without her as it is. But because she has what makes her work as an actress is that she has this, I don't know what to call it, like the how to say nothing without saying anything.
Yeah. She has a way of doing that. Ever since
Right.
Fargo, ever since
Yeah.
oh gosh, I'm going way back. Ever since Blood Simple Dread back in '84,
Right.
she always had something with like how to say a lot without saying nothing. That kind of vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really appreciate how they nailed that aspect of her. She works in that way, and because she's getting older now, the faces, the wrinkle, the stress, yeah, as they say, the cut is real. You see that a lot with her as it is. But yeah, loved it. Go ahead.
Yeah. And well, I'm not reading here as far as Golden Globes. I see nominated for Best Motion Picture, Drama, Best Actress, Drama, Best Screenplay, Best Director. Honestly, I could see Chloe and Frances winning something this Sunday.
Right.
But as far as the Oscars, yeah, this is a definite shoe-in though. I don't think it'll win Best Picture. If it does, well, okay. New American cinema has revived
Well, the
itself
thing
again.
is, yeah. So,
Something.
but I'd argue with that is more. Well, there's a big factors in terms of Chloe is the most, because I think it's either most or all female directors or something like that. Can't remember exactly, but it's something along those lines. So and out of that bunch, even though I like McGill, Regina King, Chloe is by far the biggest talent here. Like, it's not even a question.
Yeah.
It's not even a question. It's insane. So yeah, I want to see what they're gonna do with it.
Yeah. But for what it's worth, though, it is the real deal. It's not gonna be for everyone. And not just because of the style of it, but just because of the mood of it. It's bittersweet. I would say it's sad at some points.
Yeah.
Very, very poignant in some moments, but just in terms of wow, boy, these people just really have it rough, boy. But it could just relate to tuna. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the way how I felt when I was watching Parasite, for example. But at the same time, you could kind of appreciate or at least be inspired by the way how they always pick themselves up. You know what I mean? How they always kind of work through and just see the joy and just the little things in life. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Chloé Zhao for me though, just really making a name as far as like I see it as like new, American cinema, like movies like from the '70s, which was kind of going against the traditional Hollywood formula and all that kind of stuff. Like I see this is her pocket. This is where Chloe going to right now. I don't know how it's going to translate with Eternals, but but we'll see.
As I said, the worst case scenario is that we get a Ang Lee Hulk type scenario, right?
But no one wants an ugly Hulk, bro.
But that's the point. That's the point I'm making now. That she, it's a bad sign because to me, I actually somewhat defend that film slightly, right? I this is again super hot take. I think it's better than the MCU Hulk as a film, in my opinion.
It actually shockingly more memorable though.
Right.
When you think about it, yeah.
Because he like tried something and had some ideas for it, and it just didn't work out. And as I always make the joke, don't give Ang Lee toys. I felt if they didn't try to be so cutting edge with the special effects and waste so much time on that, it could have been stronger. And they should try to do something a little more dialed back. But I don't know how the tech, it was the tech at the time. We don't know, right? But the same thing with Chloé Zhao. I'm not sure, we'll get her style of filmmaking, how you're going to translate, how you're going to work, how she's going to work with the MCU and that Disney machinery. if it'll tie together. We don't know. Time will tell. We will see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But last thing before I get to reading, I do see this. Made this comment on Facebook. I do see this getting a Criterion Collection release in the near
Right.
future. This Andy Ryder, because it's right up their alley, Dre. That sort of, oh, this is someone's take on America, New America and all that kind of stuff, right? And yeah, it's right up their alley, Dre. And I honestly would buy both in a heartbeat. And the funny thing is that at the time of us recording this, Criterion Collection is having their 50% off flash sale. I already bought my stuff, so just thought I mention that. But
Right.
yeah, this is the real deal, though. You'll be hearing about this up until Oscar season, but I feel like even after that, people will be talking about this. Like, to me, this is well, I guess at the moment I could call it like Chloe's magnum opus, but I feel that this is one
Okay.
that many
I
people
know
will go
about
back
that.
to,
Yeah.
and I have a feeling so, but I think just mainly because you have a big name like Frances McDormand in your film, Dread. Like,
Right.
this is where she reaching. This is where she's aiming at, right? So for me, I'm gonna give this a very light 4.5 out of 5, man. Like I said, it's not gonna be for everyone. Some people might be iffy about the pace of it,
Yeah.
because it is a slow burn, but not too slow of a burn, right? And then also because the subject matter might be just too rough. Like, I don't want to see people catching the tail and struggling and thing and no hope and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
is the relatability of it all? It's just how these people just work through it and just live the little bit of life that they have left. To me, that's like the heart of the film. So
Right.
yeah, this is a wholehearted recommend. I definitely recommend that you check out Nomadland. Last was rated.
Yeah, I give it like a 8 out of 10. As I said, it shouldn't have pulled its punches at the end there. That was it was a little too nice, and then I find it hyping up Amazon a little too much. They could
Yeah.
dial back on the Amazon hype. Like, to me, Amazon is a big factor, or at least companies like Amazon is a big factor why they in that situation in the first place.
Yep.
In my opinion. So, like,
I think Chloe knew this. I think she
yeah,
knew that behind the scenes was like, hey,
yeah. So
Amazon, yeah, making a film, and yeah, we
yeah,
want to
it
use
was
your name, So
yeah, it was weird. I find that was just a little kind of strange to me. Whatever. It didn't break the movie or anything like that. It's still good. But that's about it. Yeah, 8 out of 10, pretty damn good. Mostly because I just really like that style of storytelling. Like, as I say, I call it the anti-mockumentary or the inverted
yeah,
mockumentary. It's that, right? It's clearly a fictional story, right, based on a fictional book, right? As far as I know, the book is not some biography or anything like that. But
right.
they make the story, they make it feel like this could be happening, and then they put a bunch of real world elements in it, literal real world elements in it, like people acting and they don't need to be actors at all. And I'm wondering how Chloé Zhao pulling off all of this. Is they don't have like actors guilds or anything like that to step in for any of this? I am kind of shocked at that. Other than that, it works.
Yeah, it does. It truly does. Hey, this is Matthew Bailey, and I hope you've enjoyed this segment of the BS Beats and Bailey podcast. If you'd like to hear the full episode, hit up my link tree. On the other side of my head are 2 videos you can check out. Like this video if you like it, feel free to subscribe and hit the bell as well. Thanks for listening, and until the next one, take care. Peace.